Hey guys, doing some brakes on a 2011 Honda CR-V. We got the tire off. It's going to be a 19mm socket. On the front of these rotors, I like to use this tool. This little impact screwdriver. You got this little set screw on the rotor. Go. Broker free. You use a regular screwdriver. This is just so much easier. We got that little screw out. Alright, let's get to it. We got a 12mm on these back bolts here, the caliper. 17mm on the inside nut. But we don't need to hold it down on this one. Looks like it's kind of rusted in place. That's cool. That 12 didn't want to really fit on there at first because they're rusted. Let's grab a little screwdriver to pry this caliper back. We got new hardware coming with this. I buy the premium pads with the new hardware. Should always do that. She is rusty. Does not want to budge. There we go. We got the caliper to push back a little bit there with that angle. And the pads are just falling apart on this. That's how rusty they are. Guys are toast. I got this piece of the brake pad that just is hung up. There we go. She's nice and loose now. We got a little hold down here on the back side for the brake hose. And I think it's 12mm. Yep, it's pretty rusty. I got it on there though. So we're gonna loosen that up to give us some more room with the brake hose. It's hot out here today. There we go. Brake hose has a lot of flex in it now. Now my problem is this brake pad is seized in, rusted in on the back, and you'll see later the brake pads have a clip. So I got to get that to break free. I'm not worried about hurting the rotor because we're replacing it. There we go. We got her. This back brake pad is rusted right in there. And that's what was keeping the caliper in. There we go. So they got these clips in the back that hold the pad into the caliper. That's what was hanging us up. This brake pad's frozen right in there too. This is what happens in Michigan. There we are. Now we can get our bracket off the back. I think that's an 18. Nope. It's a 17. Let's grab a 17. There we go. Those weren't frozen in there too bad. I like that. All right, got our two 17s out. Now we got this out. We're gonna junk this hardware that's locked in there and take a wire wheel, wire brush, or a Dremel tool to where the hardware sits, where all this rust is built up. Clean that up real good. Give it a slight coat of brake lubricant just to keep that from freezing up again. We're gonna take these slides out right here, clean them up. Put some brake grease in them, high temperature silicone brake grease. Somebody put the copper stuff in there. So let's get these cleaned up, get the bracket cleaned up, put the new hardware on. But first, smack this rotor off. This rotor is on there. Let's try coming from the back because we got new rotors. This one's gonna take some hammering, so I'll just cut that out. All right, we got that old rotor off. There was 2 set screws in there. The one was camouflaged by corrosion. I didn't see it. After I got that screw off, it hammered off easy. So got a new rotor on there. You're gonna want to spray it down with some brake fluid, you know. Get rid of that shipping oil that's on there. Push the caliper back. Was going back really easy, so I didn't use any special tools. Just use some big channel locks. We're gonna want to bleed that fluid out after we're done. Get some new fluid in there. So I cleaned up my caliper with my Dremel tool because there's rust everywhere. The brake pad wouldn't actually clip in until I cleaned the rust out of the inside of the piston. Have your squealer tab at the top for this one. You're gonna have 2 different brake pads. If they came with squealer tabs, have it at the top. Now we got our mounting bracket. It's all cleaned up. Slides are all cleaned up. New hardware's on. We're gonna put our 17mm bolts in there. We're gonna tighten them down real good. They're just going in by hand real nice and easy all the way to the end. That's nice. Nice and tight. There we go. Now we're ready to put our outside brake pad on. It'll just fit into this groove here. Make sure your brake hose isn't kinked or anything. Slide that caliper over, then push these slides in. There we go. Then our 12mm caliper bolts. We'll get those started. Go, popped into place. We can put this brake hose back in. that 12 mil bolt there. It just helps to give you a little extra slack on the brake, on the caliper. Tighten these guys up nice and tight. They are small screws, so don't snap them off. Sometimes you got to put that 17 millimeter wrench on the nuts there, because these just keep spinning. You don't need it for this one. They stayed still. All right, so we're going to want to prime our brake pedal. Get that caliper to press the pads into the rotor. And proceed with bleeding the brakes. Got to do the other side and then prime the brake pedal, bleed the brakes, and there we go. Put the tire back on, it's all done.